Hello, welcome to Marketing Matters, the show where we explore all things marketing, uncover those things that matter for you and your success. I'm your host, Denise Millet, and my hope and mission is to bring marketing and technology to you in a way that's useful, without jargon, complexity, or confusion, so you can grow your business, expand your impact in the world, and build your best life. Today's episode is called Use Your Content. Before you create something new, I want to make sure you have used what you have to the fullest extent and gotten the maximum benefit from the time and energy you've put into it. That's what today's episode is all about. And before we move on, I want to share a quote with you from Lawrence Lessig. He is the founder of the Equal Citizens and founding board member of Creative Commons, which sounds familiar. And he's once was cited by the New Yorker magazine as the most important thinker on intellectual property in the internet era. He says, "Creation always involves building upon something else. There is no art that doesn't reuse." Now, if the man who talks about creative licensing and intellectual property believes in reusing, I want you to think about the importance of, for your business, of you maximizing the value you get for the time you invest in creative endeavor. So let's move on. So, what is content first? What do I mean by content? Content is anything you record, write, or design. That's what content is. If you write a social media post and the text in the social media post can be a headline for a blog post, your thoughts have created that. You should have a copy of everything that you do. Everything that you create for social media should be created in a document that you cut and paste, so you always have your content off the platform. You never know when that platform is going to go away, so don't use that as your storage and your backup for all your social media. Make sure you have it on your own computer and you keep all that content, because you should go back through it and say, well, this idea is something I could use for a blog post. This discussion that I had about what this means should be used on a web page or as a quote or somewhere else. So you want to make sure that your best ideas, the things that you labor over, are reused. Likewise with graphics. A lot of people feel like they have to constantly create new graphics, use Canva and use Adobe and Photoshop. I'm going to say that a lot of people don't see what you post on social media, and that if you reuse a graphic, you're giving more people the opportunity to see what you did have. And a lot of people create separate graphics for all the different platforms. And I'm going to tell you that it's okay to use the same graphic on different days on multiple platforms. So you can post it on Facebook one day and Instagram later in the afternoon or the next day. You could post it on LinkedIn. Those audiences are kind of different. They don't always cross over. And it's okay to reuse that, because you've invested time in generating that piece of art. And why create three when one will do? And also, you're just making sure the maximum number of people get to see it, because it's a waste if you're just churning and churning and churning new stuff. So you want to, everything's connected, so I'm talking ahead of myself here. So use pieces of content for different platforms. So let's say you have a blog post that you've created on your website. For me, let's say it's my last blog post that I did, how voice search was so easy for users to use. I might write a post about a tip for search engines to look that people are using voice search, and I might have just taken a clip out of the blog post and used that for my social media post content. Put some hashtags in it, and I'm done. I also might advertise the blog post as the blog writing as a post and say, hey, I have a new blog article out. It's called blah, 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 and use the same graphic from the blog on my social media post. That way, I'm reusing what I spent a lot of time creating, and I'm making sure many people know that it's out there and can read it if they want to. If you create a video with people, then you can take clips of it, or you can repost it on your website, or you can share it on Facebook. So there are a lot of different ways to repurpose what you do. Every piece of content, you should try to see how you can craft it or chop it or take a piece and use it across all the platforms so that you don't have to constantly churn ideas. Okay, so you get to share your ideas with others on Clubhouse and podcasts, social media and groups, online events, and live streams, right? Which then can be shared on YouTube, social posts, blogs, and articles. So just make sure you have, the best way to do it, honestly, is I have a spreadsheet. Even for this show, I have a spreadsheet of all the different platforms that I can put my social media posts on and where I post the episodes that I create for this show. So you want to make sure you get the most out of it. And then you want to participate in community. And you want to extract the pieces that answer their questions, speak to their needs, show experiences, demonstrate your understanding of their business. So if you appear on, if you appear on a panel, online panel, and you're discussing a certain topic, you're answering questions your audience might have, you can take that portion of the video and use that as content on your website to speak to your own audience. You can show your experiences with other people as a way to demonstrate your expertise and how you understand the business through the dialogue you're having with the person that you do a podcast with. Okay? So now reusing. How? How do you reuse? Well, let me give you an example here. Here's a Clubhouse rewind social media post I did.
If someone encounters you and is excited by you and what you have to say at an event or online, but they don't remember the name of your business, right? They're going to search for you. And it should be you're out there so that you can point back to your business and support your business and all the other people in the organization. So I would say, are we the most important thing always to stand at the top? No, we want it to be what we do. We want it to be what services we provide. But sometimes we're the only link that people have in their mind or in their encounter of it.
So, what you just saw there was I had the audio recording from a Clubhouse room I was given permission to take my words out of it. So I got the recording from who owned the room, and they gave it to me. And I took that piece, that clip, and copied it and attached it or inserted it in Canva on a video that had that little audiogram thing going. So I created this video in Canva. I uploaded the audio. It only took me about a half hour. But now I can use this. It's sized for Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I've posted it on all the platforms, and someone can actually hear my voice. So I didn't have to record that separately. It was done in the context of a Clubhouse room, a social audio app, and I just took a piece of it and made this post. So it was a very effective way to share what I'm about, what my tone is, how I answer questions, what things are all about. And I try to do this once a week when I can. Another thing to do is to upload video clips, like the beginning of my show. So this is my intro for Marketing Matters, which you've all seen now. And I have this on YouTube. I use it as a social reel and a story with different text at the bottom when I'm doing different episodes to advertise the episodes are coming. I use it in my blog media to talk about the subjects that I cover in episodes, and I also have it on my website. So let's take a look at my website real quick, and I will take you to the Marketing Matters show. Now, one thing about repurposing the content from this show, I will say, is my agreements on how I can use it. I can post my show anywhere I want to. It's on the Win-Win Women platform primarily, and that is where it's primarily put, but it's also part of what I give as content on my website. So every one of these episodes has its own page that links to the video from the episode, a description of the episode, and then a timeline of the different topics I talk about. It also links to YouTube, where the video also resides there. I also have in my blog posts on occasion, when I do an episode like the last one I did a few weeks ago in February, was talking about keywords for blogs. I felt that that was important enough that I wanted to actually create a blog post from the episode. So this is my Marketing Matters show episode about keywords for blogs. And I haven't put the transcript in here yet, but I will have the transcript in here shortly. But it's another way for people to see this show beyond just on the Win-Win Women TV platform or on YouTube. If someone happens to be on my website, they can also see the show and pieces of the show. And sometimes if the topics I talk about or the slides that I use are pertinent to the subject I'm using on social media, I will repurpose video clips or just image captures of the slides from these shows if they're appropriate. Now, on my website, your podcast can become a blog article. A blog post becomes a short share on social media. You include a transcript of a video or podcast for search engines to read on your website. These are just some tips about how to get the most out of your content and to make sure you're getting the bang that you need for all the effort you put into everything. And make sure that podcasts are turned into text with transcripts, and videos also can be used. The audio from a video can be used as an audiogram, or your email, you can include clips from your shows in your email. There's so many different things you can do to share your content with your audience. It doesn't all have to be social posts. It doesn't all have to be YouTube. Try to cross over as much as you can. And I know our time is limited, so it's really difficult to figure out where to spend your time. But I would say if you begin to reuse content that you already create more effectively, you will have more time. Even though you're spreading it across other platforms, you're not beginning at square one every time. You're not reinventing the wheel. You are just taking something you've created and turning it into other things, resizing it or clipping it or whatever you have to do. So plan it out, plan the places you're going to go, and make sure you reuse your content as often as possible for the maximum benefit. The other thing I wanted to share with you on my website was that you can have your, as we spoke about in a previous episode, your guest appearances, right? Some people do live video on LinkedIn or Facebook on a regular basis. Like my good friend Maureen Edwards does a LinkedIn live series every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern. It's called Why Are You an Entrepreneur? And I have this as a guest spot on my website. So there's a separate page about what I discussed on that episode, and the video is here. It's okay for me to take a clip from this video. If I'm going to use Maureen, I should probably ask for her permission. But if it's a clip of me saying something, that's okay. And you should understand that that's okay to reuse your image, your voice from whatever you created on. You never want to infringe on anyone else's rights by reusing their image or their voice or things they've said out of context. You don't want to go there without permission or asking or speaking with someone, especially if they're a friend, just to make sure that you're safe. But you can use your image. You could use your words. And that's not a problem because you own those. Okay? You can't use the whole show en masse, but you can use what you've said. And that is so much easier to do than to create a whole video script, plan it all out, get everything set up, and record it yourself. So you could take that YouTube video and download it on YouTube, put it into a simple video editor, and just take out the pieces, copy the pieces you want, and save them. And that way you could put that into a social media post or on your website for something else. You never know when you're going to need it. So 2 things. Keep a copy of everything you participate in on your computer if you can, and keep track of what you do and reuse as much as humanly possible. Okay, so I want to ask you a question. Are you findable? Because if they can't find you, they can't do business with you. And I want you to understand that search engine marketing is all about making sure you are included in search engine results. When your ideal customer comes looking for a solution, you want to be there as a solution for them. But you can't be there if you don't do the things, the steps you need to do to be included in search results. And that's where my Simple Ways to Make Yourself Findable workshop comes in. Visit denisemillet.com/simpleways for more information about this effective hands-on demonstration workshop that'll get you included in search results. Thank you. I'm so glad you could join me for this episode of Marketing Matters. I know how precious your time is. My hope is you came away from this episode with some nuggets you can apply to your business. My aim is to provide clear, useful info for you so you can have a thriving business, amazing relationships with your customers and clients. And as always, if you have any questions, put them on my Facebook page called Marketing Matters, or send me a message, or go to my website and fill out the contact form. And join me here next week for our next episode where we'll dive into more marketing topics that matter for you. Thanks so much for your time. Bye.